All right, yay. Welcome everyone from north, south, west. Thank you for joining us. I'm so happy to be here to talk to you about microdosing joy, how small things, small shifts and things we do can have a big impact. I'm happy that you chose to be here for a quick half an hour to learn more about positive psychology, the science of happiness, or how to be happier and today more joyful. Thank you to Harvard Pilgrim and Tufts Health Plan for inviting me today. And as I was preparing this talk, I was thinking, how am I going to talk about joy? The world just feels completely upside down to me. There's a lot going on in people's lives that I'm hearing from, maybe personal challenges, work challenges. And it's like, really? How are we going to be joyful? And what is there to be joyful about? And, really, that's the time we need to be more joyful. We need to look for things that give us a little boost of positivity, a little hit of happiness, a little bit of joy that gives us energy to tackle those tougher things. So that's really what we're going to be discovering today and really talking about today, how this little things of joy can make us more resilient and able to tackle tough things. So I want to share real quick a little bit about my day and the joys I've already seen so far. So first thing this morning, I went for my usual walk. It's a beautiful day here in Quincy by the Sea, Massachusetts. And I was walking along, and my ex sent a video of her two kiddos, and the older one's 9 years old, was reading a storybook to the 5-year-old, and he asked her, "Can you read me a story?" And so she sent the video of the older one reading to the younger one. Oh my goodness, just that's joy. That to me is pure joy. I love it so much. And then I keep walking, and a dog I had never seen before, the woman stops and the dog just keep pulling at her to say hello. The dog's pulling her to say hello to me, rubs his nose up against my leg. It was just one of those sweet little moments, a little joyful moment, big impact, made me smile. And then lastly, I turned the corner in a pickup truck and I never saw before. The guy turns the corner, his window's open, and he yells out with a big smile on his face, "Good morning." Never happens in my neighborhood. No idea who that is. And it was just nice. It was strange being in the Boston area. Those of you from this area might know what I'm talking about. It was a little different, but it made me smile and it made me feel good. So let's get going here. And if you've seen me before, this is me, Pam Garamone. I'm a positive psychology keynote speaker. And I always like to start with the quokka. It's known to be the happiest animal on earth. It lives in Rottnest Island off the coast of Australia, and people fly from all over the world to take selfies with the quokka. And I like to start with this adorable animal because it just makes me feel good to look at it. And it's a little hit of joy and joyfulness. So if that made you smile, just do LOL, smile, cute. That's your little joy. That's your little whoop, dopamine boost that feels good again. And all of this is little things that make us feel good that can help us tackle the tougher things. Yay. All right. I love it. Okay. So now it's your turn. You've heard me share a few of my joys. What's one small thing that brought you joy today or this week? So let's see what's happening in your world. Just type in the chat one small thing that brought you joy today, or if you have to go back further, that's okay too. Okay, of course, dogs. Thank you so much for sharing, being able to sit on the deck and eat dinner because it finally stopped raining. I know, up here in the Northeast, very wet, warm. So, the sun feels so good. That is joy. Rhododendrons are blooming, chatting with a friend, sitting on the beach, Irises are starting to pop open. Able to tell my daughter that you got in the archery lessons, dancing workout. Dancing is a huge happiness booster. Lunch with a coworker. People are the number one happiness booster. So just, I'm not going to read all of these, but you can see all of these. This is it. This is joy. When you're having a tough time or struggling with something, this is it. Going outside on a car ride with a new puppy, starting my day with a faith devotional, sipping my coffee on the lanai, listening to all of this. It's taking a moment to focus on what's good, what makes us smile, what makes us feel a little more joyful. Again, they seem little, they might even seem insignificant, but if we focus on them, it really does give us that little bit of boost of energy and happiness that can help us get through the tougher things. All right, so I'm going to share with you in this talk some of the principles of positive psychology that are really the foundation of joy. So first, what does microdosing joy even mean? So this is the definition we're going to be working with. It's an intentionally creating the tiny moments, like you said, my 4-year-old son getting a haircut at a new, oh, I remember that first haircut with the little guy. That's the best thing ever. Thank you, Lily. That makes me smile so much just reading that. Intentionally, right? You made the intention of making the appointment, bringing the little guy to get his haircut. Intentional tiny moments of happiness throughout your day. These moments help us reduce stress, improve focus, and build resilience at work. So that's what we're working on. So why does this matter? Everybody's talking about anxiety, stress, burnout, disengagement, people leaving jobs because they're not happy. Microdosing Joe, coffee? Microdosing joy. Maybe you were looking at this as an antidote. These tiny intentional moments of positivity can rewire the brain for happiness, resilience, better performance, and just being in general happier at home and at work. And anyway, by the way, feel free to, if you have any questions as we go along or any comments, feel free to put that in the chat. All right, so the first positive psychology principle I want to share with you is from Barbara Fredrickson out of the University of North Carolina. I think somebody was here from there. And she calls it the broaden and build theory. And the idea of this is that joy, it isn't just, it does feel good, but it's not just that it feels good, that it has a purpose. When we feel positive emotions, like gratitude, joy, love, friendship, amusement, it broadens our perspective. It helps us to think new thoughts, to enhance our relationships. It has a bigger purpose than just feeling good. It helps us to seek more resources, resilience, skills, knowledge. It makes us healthier. And as you can see, and then it goes right back to the beginning. It's an upward spiral. All the times that we're feeling joy, awe, gratitude, happiness, these feel good feelings, again, they're not just feel good to feel good. They actually broaden our perspective and help us to be healthier, not just physically, but also mentally. And it helps us to think more creatively. It helps us to connect with others more. As you can see, a lot of the joy in there was connecting with other people. It helps us to be more open-minded and resilient each time we feel these positive emotions. So even a micro dose of joy can trigger this upward spiral, helping us to open up, connect, and build the strength to handle the tougher challenges. So again, small doses of joy don't just feel good. They have a much bigger purpose. So let's practice a little bit of joy. Let's take a moment. Let's take a moment right now. I think you know that the number one happiness booster is people, and that people in general mostly can bring us a lot of joy. So let's take just 30 seconds right now and appreciate someone in your life. Could be someone here that you see and you haven't spoken to or seen. You could send them a little private message. Could be a text message to a partner, kid, friend, parent. Take a minute right now and send a text or a message of appreciation to somebody in your life. Could be a coworker, could be somebody in your personal life, someone who maybe makes your workday better. And just take a minute. I'm going to stop talking for a minute and send a little message. Sean Acor, who has a positive psychology TED talk, I think there's like 10 million views. He says we're all starving to feel seen, valued, and appreciated. And we're super stingy with our praise and appreciation. So take a minute now and just be generous with your appreciation, your praise with a coworker, with a teammate, with a family member, with a friend. And if you get something funny back, like sometimes when I do this in live audiences, people will get a text back saying, are you at an AA meeting? Or I've heard, what do you want? I've heard, what else? Yeah. I can't remember off the top of my head, but if you hear or receive something funny back, are you at one of those woo woo meetings again? Yeah, I am. Yeah, so just type in the chat if you get a funny response. All right, so the first thing, again, that I wanted to share, the foundation of positive psychology and joy is broaden and build theory. The next thing that you may have heard of is called hedonic adaptation. And basically, it's that every single human being, we're born with a happiness set point. And all these things that you mentioned, they do increase our happiness and joy for a short time, unfortunately. So think of something, maybe you got a new cell phone, and at first you were like, ooh, look at my new cell phone, and you got a little boost of joy and happiness, and then, just a cell phone. You get a new car, you've been wanting it forever, and you're so psyched, you pick it up, you drive it off the lot, and for a while, yeah, it feels really good. You get a little boost of joy and happiness, and then it's just a car. And let's think, anybody here in the chat, think of something that gave you a boost of happiness. And then you were like, I mean, maybe it's your wedding day. For some, you're like, whoa, I'm getting married. I'm married. And then, I'm married. I don't know. What else? What's something that comes to mind for you that at first you were super excited and then the high faded and it was like, okay, what's next? Yeah, okay, that's a good one. Online shopping. Remember when Amazon was like, whoa, we could just order something and it comes to our door? Now it's like, now people are stealing those things from our doorstep. Wah, wah. No. Yeah, okay. A new car, starting a blended family, becoming a stepmom, super exciting. Woo! And then, oh yeah, this is hard. Yeah. And so we get the whole idea here is that we're humans and we all we adapt to things. And then it's like, yeah, okay, I got this car. What's next? I got this house. What's next? We kind of go, our brain goes to this. What's next? And it's completely natural, but it just means we need to be intentional in refreshing our joy and trying to think of novel ways or new ways to increase our joy. So, it's like when the daffodils first come out in the spring, we're excited. I took pictures of them, right? And now they're just the daffodils, right? So we almost on a daily basis. We need to keep adding novel things, looking for different things that can increase our joy and give us that micro moment of that dose of joy and positivity. So, and and then it's really, if you're if you see the daffodils, maybe the next time you really look closer, or you look at how many different kinds of daffodils are. So it's taking it a little bit a deeper step into it. Just put yes in the chat if that makes sense. We need to keep adding novel ways to increase our joy. Otherwise, it's going to be a shrug, like, oh, yeah, daffodils. Oh, yeah, I have a new car. Whoa. Okay. And yeah. So before we do the next thing, does anybody have, and if you could just put in the chat, a go-to um, moment of joy that that whenever you do this, you're going to get that hit of happiness, that joyful. What's your go-to micro dose of joy? Let's see if we can steal some. If you've never done this, maybe, oh yeah, monthly massage. Now that never gets boring, or I don't think I have ever adapted to that because I don't get them that often. Listening to a favorite song. Yeah, exactly. Adorable cats, watching the Golden Girls, going to the Kingdom Hall twice a week for worship. Yeah, taking a shower and blasting the tunes. Beautiful. Spending time with you. Yeah. So it's also super important to know what our go-tos are so that if we have time in the day, we can be intentional about making these things happen. A 1 hour dance class, a cuddle or treat for the dog, having time alone and being quiet. Awesome. These are great. And if there's anything in here like, wow, I haven't done that in a while, jot it down and make it an intention to do this thing in the next day, week, or month. All right, so I want to share with you some real world examples of joy, microdosing joy in the workplace. And this is from this one here, Glimmers and my mouth today. Glimmers and gratitude. I want you all to say that 5 times. That might be a little boost of joy for you right there. Nice cup of, yeah. All right. So this is from Google, the Google offices. The way they microdose joy is they have these they try to notice glimmers, they call them, which is just joy, little glimpses of joy. And they have a gratitude wall where people post thank yous and small wins. This simple habit strengthens team connection and raises positivity. This is from Ariana Huffington at Thrive Global. They call it Joy Triggers. And what they do is they encourage the staff to take joy breaks. So this is just an example. It could be going for a walk. It could be meditating. It could be just taking a deep breath. But it's just time to just reset. And every day, just taking, I love the term, a joy break. This next one is from Zappos. And at Zappos, they call this random acts of happiness. Is that what? Yeah, random acts of happiness. And what they do is they can write a note to somebody or spontaneous applause. Applause is a happiness booster. So maybe somebody comes in and you just clap for them, feels good for the giver and the receiver. Maybe you give somebody a little treat, buy them a cup of coffee. This on the screen, you might be wondering, what is that? Well, the little kids in my life, the little one, he's 5 now, but when he was 3, he gave me the nickname Biba. And a couple weeks ago, he was at the house and we were downstairs reading. And then he said, Biba, come upstairs and close your eyes. So he's 5. He takes my hand, we go up, he says, keep your eyes closed. And we walk up the stairs and we walk to the refrigerator. And he had taped this note on the refrigerator and it says, Biba, I love you, and his name. So I will never throw this note out. This was a boost of joy and happiness, and now it's in my bathroom on the wall. And every time I look at it, it's this. I'm never gonna get. I'm never gonna get used to it. It won't be as big as the first time, maybe, but I'll never get used to this because I just love it. so much. All right, this one is at a startup in Boston. They call it Tiny Win, hashtag Tiny Wins. They do this on a Slack channel, and basically it's where employees can share anything positive, from fixing a bug, a technical bug, to finally getting a good night's sleep, and they just hashtag Tiny Wins. And also, by the way, again, people are the number one happiness booster. So surrounding yourself with joyful, happy, positive people, that's going to be a win every day. So that's your other micro dose of joy. So now I'd love it if you could just drop in the chat, what's one small action you can take today to microdose joy in your workplace? Let's see what we have here. I love this picture. Is an actual picture in a school where they put balloons in the hallway, and they had the children had to find their own balloon. Each balloon had a name on it, and they had to find their own balloon. And what was most helpful was when they found someone else's balloon and gave it to that person. So it was a good lesson also in teamwork. So love the applause idea. I know. You could do it for yourself. You could look in the mirror and just give yourself a little, Pam, awesome to see you today. Have a great day. You could do it. We do it with the kiddos when they're going off to school, clap for them. Let's make this a great day. You could do it with your colleagues. You come into work and just give them applause. Hey, it feels good. It feels good for the receiver to get applause, and it feels good for the giver. So taking a walk, being in nature, huge happiness booster, huge joy booster. Put a 5-minute meditation on reset. Yeah, give kudos to a teammate on a tiny win. I can't really stress enough. The research shows in the workplace, you hear about a lot of turnover, and the research shows that if you have a best friend at work, you're more likely to stay there and enjoy your work more. Now, just type yes in the chat. Does that make sense? Right? So we need to make those connections at work, because it helps people to have a better day, and it helps you to feel like you're contributing to the organization in a more positive way. And again, we're starving to feel seen, valued, and appreciated. I remember giving a talk to nurses, and a nurse came up to me at the end and said, this was a really great presentation, but who should have been here? The managers. She said, we never see them. Like, the only time I ever talk to my manager is when something goes wrong, like when there's a complaint from a patient or something. I did something wrong. And I remember that feeling when I was teaching fourth and fifth grade. You never heard from the principal. I never did, unless a parent complained or something was wrong. And so if the principal said, Pam, could you come down to the office and see me? My heart would race. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna get fired. I'm like catastrophizing, because why else would she call me in? And that's not good. We really need to be lavish in our praise, not only with our teams. If you're a manager, please find ways to appreciate your teams, but also with one another at work. We're starving for it. It's so easy. Just give them, a smile. Clap for them. It doesn't have to be a cup of coffee, which costs money. It could be just a smile, a high five. And I can't remember yeah, no, I didn't do it in this one, but I want to just say a word about gratitude, because you hear a lot about the practice of gratitude. It's a huge joy and happiness booster. And I was recently learning about, especially in the workplace, when we're thanking people, there's this extra piece that you could also try out and see if this makes sense. Just type yes in the chat after I say it, if it makes any sense to you. What it is instead of just saying, like, thanks for getting that project done on time, or thanks for getting me the numbers for this. Thanks for getting me the numbers. It's taking it, or even worse, good job, Bob. Again, feels good for just a few seconds, but what feels lastingly good is when you tell someone their strength in context. So, for example, thank you for getting the numbers for this report. It really helped on my end get my report in on time. It's really saying thank you for what they did and how it affected you. That's the other piece of it, how it affected you, because you know when somebody's absent, they're not at work, and now you have extra work, it has an effect on you. And when somebody helps you, if you can say specifically how that helped you, it makes that person feel more accountable for their work, but also it gives them a bigger boost of joy and happiness if they know the effect that it had on you. So just type yes. I see some yeses. Does that make sense? And again, this is at work, definitely, but could you see this with your kiddos? Could you see this with your husband? Just, hey, thanks for taking the garbage out, you know, but how did that actually affect you? If you take it that one step further, thanks for taking the garbage out. That lightened my load so that I could play longer with the kiddos. I made that up, but does that make sense? It's taking it that extra step, saying the effect that it had on you, that they were able to do that thing. All right, so we are running out of time, and I want to give you a chance to, if you aren't on my email list already and would like to get happiness tips every now and then, you can pop your email in the chat. I will add you to my email list, totally optional. I always share how much I appreciate colleagues in front of the group. I feel I could be more effective. Oh yeah, yes, definitely. It's just like clapping, it makes a big difference. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And thank you all for joining us. I'm happy to stick around if you have any questions. But before you go, we'd love it if you could you know how to do the QR code. Put your phone camera up to it. You'll see a yellow bar. Click on the bar. There's going to be some questions. It's super helpful for Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare and Tufts Health Plan. It's helpful for me. So take a moment and answer the questions. Give us some feedback. And thank you for the email. So I'm going to leave the QR code up there for a second. Anybody have any questions in the last minute or two while you're doing the survey? Any questions? And I probably should stop talking for a minute so you can focus on your survey questions. Thank you. I appreciate it. See, now it just feels really good. And maybe just say if you're in the mood to, what's something you might try out? What's something different, novel that you might want to try out, a new joy practice that you saw today or heard today? You know, it's real fun and nice to listen to these things, but it's even better if we actually do them. Yeah, so while you're doing that, folks, I just want to say thank you for showing up today and for practicing joy for a few moments. And really, things are tough out there for a lot of folks. So the more you can spread your joy, your positivity with others, it's just going to make a big difference in the world we're living in right now. So thank you so much. And again, I'll stick around if you have any questions. And thank you for filling out the survey. And we're going to end with a thank you to Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare. Thank you all.